we're going to make dovetail joints. Figure out what you want for your tails and what you want for your pins. Remember, the tails, you start by drawing the triangles in them, and the pins will go in that. So whatever you want, I don't care what you make them. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make my tails in this, the walnut, and my pins in the ash. So the first thing I'm going to do is start with the walnut. I'm going to mark how deep of a cut I need to go, and I'm just using a pencil on this because I'd like to erase them at the end. So now I know that's how deep I'm going to make my cuts. Next thing I'm going to do is draw my triangles, and the triangles are like the pyramids. They point up. You don't want to make them in reverse. Make sure you're putting these triangles to where they point up. And the other thing is you don't want those to touch the bottom, because this is essentially staying in. This is getting erased. That is staying in. It's not getting cut. And the triangles are what is going to be removed. So I like to color in what I'm going to take out so I know not to cut anything like here that would make it not able to be put together correctly. Now, why a dovetail joint? A dovetail joint is an extremely strong joint that doesn't really need any fasteners. It doesn't need glue. A lot of times we'll use glue on it, but it doesn't have to. So then you would square across your triangles. You don't have to mark them on the other side because you're going to worry about this side when you do your cutting. So now we're going to go ahead and we're going to put this in the vise and we're going to cut those triangles. Okay, so now I'm going to take my saw. I'm going to cut straight across. Then I'm going to angle my saw and cut down at these angles. Then come back and cut down at these angles. I'm not moving like this. I'm not mitering it. I'm doing a bevel cut here because I want it straight across. So now that I've cut the start on all of them, I'm going to angle my cut. Then I'm going to come back at the other bevel. Okay, now I have all the bevels cut. Now I like to either chisel this out, and I don't love to chisel that out. I usually do that at the later stage. I like to take my coping saw, take it halfway down the cut, and then start cutting. Oops. And then turn the coping saw to go towards the corner. Then I come back and remove it like that. Now I have my tails made. So I'll look at them. They look pretty good. If you need to chisel any pieces out in here, you can go ahead and do that. You can put it down here, clamp it to your table, use your bench stop, whatever you need to do, and chisel that out. I don't need to, it looks fine. So what I can now do is I could go and do the other side, or I could mark out my pins. So we're gonna go ahead and mark out the pins. So what I like to do is set this in the clamp where it is pretty low. Then I can just set this on top and I can mark out Now, if I can't get my pencil in there, another thing you can do is you can use a marking knife. Remember that from previous videos? I really like to use this little guy. You take him in there. Now I have some lines that I can see in order to put the pencil mark on them. Now, this thing's really critical. You're going to look down in here, and I like to go ahead and put some scribbles on the ends here, just so I can know what I see, and then I darken in the parts that don't have the little scribbles on them. I erase those scribbles. They're just really light scribbles. I didn't really draw hard, just make a little thing so I know what's going to be removed. I know these pieces now are going to be removed, the parts that don't have the scribbles on them, because those are the parts I didn't see, and it needs to go down like this. So now that's what we're sitting with. Now we need to know how deep these go. So we're gonna do the same thing. It's the thickness of our piece. And I can go that far down. I would recommend you get a square. I've been doing this for so long, I can use my fingers. I use my finger as a guide. And I'm gonna go down this one. Okay. Now is the point where instead of going straight across with a bevel, now I need an angle. So all these are going to get angled and cut straight down this way. All right, now I need to cut the other side. All right, so now I can remove these pieces that are shaded in on this side. I can come in and cut, but I need to make sure that I maintain, after I get in here, I want to maintain that angle because I don't want to cut into this. I'll do the same thing over here, and then I'll cut these with the coping saw. Let's go ahead and cut that with the coping saw first. I'll start over here. Same type of thing. I'm gonna change. You know what? I messed up. I have a line to follow here, but nothing over here. So I'm gonna go ahead, stop, put my line there so I know how far to go. There we go. Now I know exactly how far down I need to go. There we go. We might have to clean up some of that with a chisel, but so far it's pretty decent. Okay, there we go. We have our pins cut. All these look pretty decent, so we're gonna try to fit it. One thing you need to watch for, make sure these don't flare out at the bottom. If these flare out, and if they angle down, they will act as a wedge, and when you go to put this piece on there, they will push out, they will push these pieces out, and they will split one of these pieces off. So you gotta watch these, make sure these are straight down, and then don't force it. So we have our pieces that we're going to see. Now, one thing I didn't do is show which side was which. So these actually fit down pretty decent. There's some gaps in here. I could have made those a little bit better. So I need more practice, but it's not gonna fall apart. It's not even glued together. Okay, and that's how you make a dovetail, folks. What I also forgot to do is I like to label these sides out, out, and then top, top, and then I know exactly how they go together. There is your dovetail. We'll go ahead and move on, and we'll turn these guys into a box.